So welcome to the Reggaecy, where we endeavor to preserve the legacy of reggae and dancehall. My name is Randy, and you have Oliver in the sweater, and you have Shane in the vest. Saying, put up my name,
But
but
I'm supposed to know it by now,
yeah,
Real.
hopefully,
Hopefully. And the new people them, they check out some old video. Like, comment, subscribe as usual.
definitely,
Keep it going.
definitely. Yeah, so people, we have a few topics to discuss. We're not gonna keep it too long this week, but you never know, cause when
Yeah, but because I say, love chats.
no, but when the conversation them get heated and thing, you don't know, might, spend some time.
Talk
You know,
up thing them.
really, yeah, definitely, because we kind of want to try, um, give both sides or give as many takes or looks or feelings on a particular conversation or situation or topic as possible. Because we don't really want people to feel like, we just talk, we want to show them, say, really and truly, we're about that. The Reggaecy, reggae legacy, you see me? At any
Yeah.
rate, at any rate, the first topic of the night, we are discuss Sean Paul had an article in a magazine that I read recently. Don't necessarily remember the magazine, but I know
It was an interview he did, but then
it's an interview, but then a magazine kind of
yeah,
summarize.
different blogs, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interview with DJ Epps.
Okay. All right. So basically, him did have something basically a lock out on the basically I guess the clash culture in reggae and dancehall, and while mentioning that he mentioned he's been feeling this way, but he just never feel comfortable saying anything. Also mentioned that it had something well in reference the greatest reggae show of all time, which everybody knows what Sting, where they normally keep December. Basically, I guess the artists is competing against each other, and compare that to basically back in the days when slaves used to fight each other, like maybe the Mandingo battles or whatever. Which me and Oliver and Shane were kind of discussing briefly before this. At any rate, people, how do you feel about it? I'm gonna go around the room, and Oliver Shane, tell me how them feel about it. Whether them feel like what he said was warranted, what he said is close to the truth, somewhat accurate. What kind of feelings they have on it, and if people should take it anyway, because people see in our culture. They simply you share our opinion, them just get hot about it, like
I'm crucified, right?
right. So
Yeah.
that being said, whichever one of you guys want to go first. It seems like she and itching to go. So
Yo, the Sean Paul, I'm artist.
Yo, big up Sean Paul, yo. So, I mean, I feel the same way in some respect, right? I get the part of the competitiveness, but I think what happened is over the years it becomes
hold on, the same. You say you feel the same way. More
I'm
tell the people
gonna do that.
exactly how you feel.
Yeah, so basically, I do feel that it's something that degrades the overall culture of the music, right? Reason being, it becomes a case where that's the only thing you feel like you can do to get a hype or to get heard or noticed, right? So what happened is I feel like that put the creativity in a box. And then it hurts you if you don't have beef with somebody, you can't put out a hit or you can't put out a song that anybody cares about, right? So in that sense, I do understand the part of the competitiveness, but then it goes way beyond that in so many cases. For example, with the Gaza and Gully situation, right? When I was living in Mobile, this thing got so serious where it's like different communities became territories, like Gaza community versus Gully community. And this is in Montego Bay, not Kingston, where Portmore and Cassava Peace exists. But it becomes a thing around the country where you could end up getting stabbed over the fact that you prefer the opposing artist than I do. You get what I'm saying? So it became that kind of thing. So it enforces the violence even outside of the music or off the stage.
Almost
Right?
like what? That sound like almost like gang culture, like yeah, this.
Yes, it was. Right? And that is just one example. You get what I'm saying? So, and then when you look at a lot of artists who usually, for the most part, are in these battles, a lot of the times, most of them, they're quiet unless there is a diss track to do. If there's no diss track to do, they can't come up with something substantial or significant. You get what I'm saying? So I definitely agree with him on those points, right? Even for example, I remember watching Magnum King and Queens of Dancehall, which was a competition where DJs, female and males, would basically go through rounds to win the king or the queen, right? The king and the queen. And at one round, it would be a case where, okay, we're having clashes, right? And it usually became so heated where I know that these guys probably genuinely dislike each other at this point. You get what I'm saying? And I even looked at it at one point and said, why, if we're looking at creativity and pushing them to be the most creative or the best they can be,
better,
why not, in the competitions, why not put them on assignments to say, okay, I want these groups to come together and do collaborations. You get what I'm saying? Everybody do a song featuring the next one. That to me would grow them more as opposed to saying, okay, clash and clash and clash and clash. Because when you're clashing, it's minimalized to me in war against you. And there's only so much things we can talk about in a case like that. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like that is the case where that comes in. And when you look at it, the biggest hits of all time, none of them includes a so-called diss track or a clash track. You get what I'm saying? So, that's how I feel about it.
Oliver, how you feel about that, Oliver?
So I guess I'm going totally almost the next way. And I'll tell you why. The issue, the question, the concern that he was responding to, right, was a question we've discussed here on this platform and many other platforms.
Okay.
What's going on with dancehall or reggae? We're struggling with sales. What are the issues? He pointed out that as one of the issues. I think we can agree that there are other issues. Not saying this isn't an issue, but I personally think there are bigger issues than this. He compared it to Mandingo fights that we saw in Django, for people who've seen that movie, where they put two slaves to fight and the winner survived. I mean, I get it. It's an analogy. For me, personally, we have to be careful when we use analogies like this. There's nowhere me battling with another artist can compare to two black men fighting years ago for their lives. This is totally two different circumstances. I don't believe that that's the same thing. I think competition is necessary when it comes to music. Whether or not in anything there's competition. Music is a sport. There's no difference. Competition's been going on in Jamaica before. So in my opinion, we need to choose what we want, because on one end, we're arguing that we create crash culture. And I know we're saying we don't want it. Now the Americans are using it and do it in a certain way, and we're upset with that. So which one it is? I don't think the issue is clashing. I think there are bigger issues than that. Now, let me tell you how I feel about competition. I think sometimes competition is good. Steel sharpens steel. I think Jay-Z and Nas, for example, sharpened each other's steel. I think Bunty and Beanie sharpened each other's steel. You can use it constructively, right? I don't think it has to mean that one person don't strive, right? In everything, people gonna choose one, right? It's just so that's how human beings are. Mm-hmm. Some people are Martin Luther King, some people are Malcolm X, right? Some people are even as simple as go down to Biden or Trump. There's always a decision. Some people are just like that. They want to pick one. It's not the best way, But I don't think that's what's limiting dancehall, because I think that happens in hip hop and they still strive. It happens in reggaeton, they still strive. I think there are bigger issues like not helping the younger artists. So, for example, not calling out Sean Paul, but anything Sean Paul say, you have to actually listen because he's done it before. So he's walked a place that a lot of reggae artists or dancehall have never walked. Mm-hmm. So he must be speaking from somewhere enlightened. What I'm not saying he's not doing this, but what I would want to see is artists of his caliber that's already excel go back and show some of the younger youth, if they're willing to listen, how you go about it. Because to me, it's a bigger issue than just clashing. Sting isn't going on for years. There's no real clash going on in Jamaica right now, in my opinion. One artist can, I don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see the one. If you can give me two artists where people are picked against one another to the point where they're not succeeding, I can't see it. Because Mavado and Vibes were still succeeding. They both had their fans.
Yeah, but it go beyond that though. Because even the other day when you have Jamil and Tommy Lee and at one point Popcorn and
right.
Mavado, and even the other day with the whole Drake situation and Mavado, and you know what I mean? So they may not be on a stage physically where Sting provide the arena, but it still happens through media and just doing the songs, you know? So, you know, in some ways, it still happened that way.
So I understand both points on both sides, right? Yes, and I respect how you guys presented it. I just think that maybe him just choose a small, Sean Paul that is, I choose a small inflection or something there is about, I guess, these old slave battles, and compare it in the sense which basically, rather than building each other up, right? It's almost like divide and conquer them. And maybe him use the analogy and it never use it so precise. It was kind of a little bit incorrect. But
or extreme.
Exactly. But I believe in the divide and conquer because honestly speaking, for instance, again, I honestly believe, sincerely believe, doing this show, great. If it wasn't for you guys, I probably wouldn't even be doing this. Right? And then me feed off of you guys' responses, Oliver, Shane, you see me? Sometimes your passion, sometimes I'm here playing troll, sometimes I'm here playing, whatever the case may be, devil's advocate, whatever the case may be, right? Like I said, steel sharp steel. But if it was a competition now, it's who can outdo each other. Eventually, what's going to happen? We're probably going to divide and separate and probably not even want to work together. You understand what I'm saying? So, in that sense, I kind of have an idea. I'm get what Sean Paul said. But, again, what Oliver just said is true. Because it's a sport. We need competition. Sometimes people don't get stimulated unless provoked. Sometimes you don't get the best out of them unless they're under pressure, right? So again, going back to Oliver's point, maybe the analogy might not do something exactly precise,
So let's put it this way: this is not R&B. DJ thing is a competitive sport. The very nature of toasting on the mic, you tend to talk about braggadocious stuff.
True.
I'm better than you, blah, blah, blah. It's almost impossible to even make a real DJ song and say you are the best at something. I just saw it work. I'm not saying that the competition necessarily need for me that we now work together. I think Bunty and Beanie have evolved and shown that the fact that they don't agree on everything, it can still work, right? They can still, I think the way of Swiss Beats them do it, they have these battles, but it's actually more like, let's share content, right? I don't think it necessarily means we don't have to work together. And I agree with both you guys and Sean Paul. I'm not saying I don't agree, because I'm in no business to have I don't support nothing like that for the business to be segregated. I think we've all said on this platform the artists will need to work together more. I just don't think that's the main issue affecting our artists in Jamaica. I think for me, it's more accountability, not me, whether me and Randy or me and Shane in a battle. At the end of the day, I go home and work on my material, and I am working on how to get out there. I have to take accountability for why I'm not getting to the level I'm at. Our show is not where we want it to be. We have to sit down and look inside ourselves and figure out what next to do. We discuss it together and we figure it out. Competition is there. You can't not have competition. Even in business, if for example, you're DJing, right?
Right.
And you're trying to get shows. Everybody out there, whether you know that's a DJ, whether you know them or not, is competing with you to get the business.
That's true.
So competition to me is, but I don't agree with competition to the point of destroying each other.
Okay, so maybe in a sense then, the right thing is, what you just said now, highlight something now. Come to mind. It come to my mind that, yeah, you know, people and everyone's competing with each other, but to a certain extent, there are some politics going on in the background that cause people,
Yes.
regardless of knowing you, is like, it's almost like a backstabbing thing, fight you down and fight.
And that's the bigger issue, Randy. I'm glad you bring that up.
Yeah, so
not the competition on a real musical level, but the competition behind the scene where try to fight out each other music. That's the issue to me.
Yeah. This I would agree with that. Right? But do you think the two are related?
I don't think the artists most of them are that powerful. I think it's only a small amount get to that point where they can control who get out there.
Yeah, I mean, that may just be one way of doing it.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And I think that is where, because you have even cases where a DJ may be in a certain area and they get physically abused just because they played a certain artist.
Sure.
You get what I'm saying? So definitely where the power comes in and the influence comes in, things like that happen. You get what I'm saying? But I believe, in my opinion, I think what Jean Paul is trying to say is that being more or less the foundation of the culture, in a sense, is what breeds these kind of mentality amongst each other.
I agree with that.
Because with Beanie and Bunty, right, they've been clashing since 91 or something like that.
92. Yeah, something.
It took them decades to come to the point where they can say, all right, we're good. To say, yo, we are friends. We are right. Decades. You get what I'm saying? So between all those years, it was always a case like, yo, me against you, period. So it wasn't even just about music or competition at that point. You get what I'm saying? And it takes a mature level now for them to say, you know what? Why should we be enemies? It was our music and we were young and naive and just aggressive and proud and whatever the case is. So I think what he's trying to say is that became the basis on a level, and then it keeps going out, getting out of hand. You get what I'm saying?
But I think that happens in every music, right? I'll share an example. Recently, 50 Cent posted Irv Gotti actually saying in an interview for probably the first time, Irv Gotti admitting that he purposely used to try to block 50 Cent, right? Purposely. So this happens in all music.
Yeah, I don't think it's specific.
And 50 became one of the biggest hip-hop stars, right? So to me, then the issue isn't just the competition, is the artist's resilience and ability to create more. I think from what I see in our industry, we have an idea that we're competing at a height, but we're not putting in the efforts that it takes and putting all the business pieces to get to the next level. I think going in the studio is just one aspect of it.
Yeah, I think what you say is key, because they keep it just in the music, but like you said, they're not thinking beyond that to say our competition should be on a musically, on a business level where
and the work ethic. Because remember, they tried to do the same thing to Vibes, right? If Vibes was a weaker artist, Vibes would have been crushed years ago.
Sure.
But what ended up happening? He used that as fuel, like, okay, man, try block me thing.
Done everybody.
All right, I'm going to build a whole little empire then. I'm going to figure out a way. So I think we need to become more resilient because it's not just in music, you know.
So
I'm going to go back to the business analogy. No matter what business you're in, you're going to have to keep reinventing yourself. Somebody are going to go, you know what, I better they sell too much car down the road and a dealership. I'm going to try for blocking thing.
So hold on there. What about those that would probably say that the reason why Sean Paul has said them thing here because he's afraid of clash?
That's a good point. I'm glad you.
That's a good question.
Good devil's advocate question because he's never really done it.
And then you can look at it to say, I mean, like they would usually say, the proof is in the pudding. Or in this case, the proof is in the profits, right? Because, okay, good example. Now look at it this way: Sean Paul doesn't clash or haven't been a clash or whatever, but which dancehall artist you say bigger than Sean Paul? Without, you know what I'm saying?
Hold on,
without all of that.
So hold on there now. So maybe show you the opposite side of that. And I understand you put the point where you make. Which dancehall artist would you say bigger than Sean Paul? But in our own country where I'm come from, the dancehall, the ghetto, the people them are really into the deep the culture. Most of them, if you ask them what them favorite artists, Sean Paul wouldn't come out of their mouth.
Exactly, because they want the clashing. So even going back to the analogy that he made, right, with the whole Mandingo situation. For those who don't know, Mandingo would be like when the slave masters have two slaves and have them fight like for sports, right?
Oh, the big thick and strong one them normally.
Yeah.
I guess like
the champions, right? You have a champion, right? Now, the way I look at it, the only difference is that in this case, the white man, quote unquote, would be the Jamaican audience, right? Because that is what they want. They want to see the fight. They want to see the competition. They want to see the battles, right? Now, what happened is it comes back to the whole idea. Say, okay, I'm going to do this because this is what the people want, right? But Henry Ford said, if you ask people that if they wanted to travel faster, what would they want? They would tell you they want more horses. They wouldn't tell you they want another way. They wouldn't tell you they want an engine. You get what I'm saying? So I think, like I say, it comes back to innovation and reinventing yourself. You get what I'm saying? So I think it still comes down to a choice where I can either keep my thing local and get caught up in clashes and that's about it. Or I can think bigger and go beyond that.
So I don't think most artists end up just sticking to clashes though. They might just end up have a grievance with one or two artists. I don't think any real artists just sit back in Jamaica just clashing, right? And Sean Paul, the argument you're saying that Sean Paul is big. Yes, Sean Paul is bigger than most, but I don't think him being bigger is the fact that he didn't clash. I don't think that's the only reason. I think Sean Paul had an engine behind him. There's a lot of other factors at play. But what I'll say is there were clash artists that were big. Bounty Killer and Beenie Man were big here too at one point. Beenie Man and so the argument that they can't get to that level by clashing is not true because Beenie Man was big in America at one point. Probably went close to gold.
But was it just based on clashing? No,
it was not. But I'm saying that the argument that a clash artist cannot make is not true. So it's not the clash.
No, so not saying that clash artist meaning that it's only clash that's gonna get you there, right? That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
Right? Because you have clash music and then they do other music otherwise, right? But I think what it comes down to is there's too much energy, I feel like, in my opinion, then, is going into trying to do a diss track or a diss track. Like,
But who? But this is why I'm saying, but who doing that nowadays?
For example, Movado, right? He does his music now and then.
Right.
And we even say we want to hear more from Movado, right? And for a minute, you don't hear much from Movado. Drake that track and he said something about cassava, peace and gully and whatever. And all of a sudden, so and guess what happened? This happened because people were saying, yo, Drake said this and that about cassava peace and it's subliminal this to you and whatever. So he felt an obligation to give the people what they want and do a response track.
I guess what I'm saying is, okay, let's even say Movado operates this way. Who else? Because to me, Sean Paul is seeming to saying the entire culture almost is doing this.
Yeah.
Who else is doing this?
Some like me, we get the point. And I think I'm get everybody with a broad brush.
That's why I don't think maybe you were saying was right, Randy. Maybe he just didn't explain himself. Maybe he meant the under, like you were saying, the fact that them fight each other out.
Yes.
But not the actual clashing, like actually go on stage.
Yeah. So it goes beyond the clashing.
I mean, he's not saying anything different we've said in the past. The artists need to work more together.
The only apprehension I have with the clash mindset, though, right? Because some artists, them really pride themselves on clashing, right? And when they pride themselves on clashing, reflecting on them work, the material of them put out. Yeah. And then because of that, now you get known for clashing. And it's like you're almost pigeonholed. And it's like if you don't really have something slick and wicked to say coming at somebody or the
exactly.
I think that happened to Kip Rich.
Right.
Yeah, it's almost like it's what kind of non-existent. We don't really want to hear. You don't have nothing right now for your material, steel or lame or
exactly.
It's
and
like you're done.
Even like a Merciless, for example.
Because
this thing, I think about this a lot over the years. Like the only time Merciless matters is when he's supposed to clash Bounty Killer.
But then that's
so it's in a box. You get what I'm saying?
But to me, then it's still not the industry. That's just
an individual.
That's just Kip Rich. That's where they want to be. They want to be in that lane. They don't. Okay, stay in that lane. I mean, Merciless to me would be crazy if he really believed that just showing up at Sting every year would take his career to the next level.
So hold on then again. Since we kind of here and there on the subject, how you guys feel like clashing is beneficial, or if you are an artist, you would rather not clash, or you yes for clash or no for clash, basically. That's what I'm asking.
I'd say to be completely honest, that there needs to be a balance, right? I think what happened is over the years, artists got conditioned to the idea that if you're not gonna be anybody unless you come and kill this other artist who is hot. You get what I'm saying? So a lot of them feel as if this is where I need to start. I need to be able to murder the other artists on a track. And they get focused and so obsessed with that idea where most of them, they're just in that zone. You get what I'm saying? So they don't think outside the box. You get what I'm saying? So I think it's just a matter of their own mental programming and what they need to do in order to excel, because that's what they grew up on. You get what I'm saying? That's how I feel about it.
I agree. I think you need a balance of both. I personally don't want to see dancehall without no clashing at all. Doesn't necessarily need to be on a stage, but I need to see sometimes some competition, give some energy into the sport of dancehall music. It is what it is. That's how dancehall, a lot of dancehall is that. I think we don't necessarily have to change with all of us. We just need to bring the masses to us and find a way to innovatively do it. For me, the key word is always just innovation and resilience. To me, but I mean, I don't want us to keep beating the subject too long, because we're not on it now for probably a minute. 40 minutes.
Yo, so I mean, that being said, and we feel like
wrap it. Yeah.
I feel like on a touch upon on most parts and everything what we can say about this.
Sorry, people.
But
Yo,
Man,
we
them
just have one question to ask.
we end up a clash.
One question to ask because you have
Yeah.
a certain artist out there that's begging for a clash right now. Because some people say right now I'm irrelevant and a fade. What you think about Subi, aka Mr. Vega,
Yo.
begging to clash Bounty Killer?
But he's actually doing that.
You
He's
man,
been begging. Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. Why can't you come up with something outside of having to clash with a bounty killer?
I don't think that's his own. With him and Bounty Killer, though.
I'm not saying he can't do it, but that's what I'm saying. We get to focus on I need to clash somebody to get heights.
Subi has never been a clash. I don't think this is only just about the clash. I think Subi has some personal feelings when it comes to Bounty Killer.
Yo.
Bounty Killer has said some things in the past about him that I think still hurt. And from what I see with Subi, he feels as if Bounty gets a pass for some of the stuff that he's done. And he's not feeling the whole positive Bounty Killer image. I think that's what's bothering him. Like, Bounty got a pass now to be talking this positive stuff. And let's give Subi his credit, though. He's one of the few artists who Bounty did really take on in an area where still survive. So I think Subi feels that kind of way, like, yo, me stand up to the Killer's onslaught, even though he didn't diss him back. But he had hit records. There are other artists that weren't that fortunate. And I'm not saying Bounty, but let's be real here. Bounty did end some careers.
Yo, and don't get me wrong. I mean, Mr. Vegas is a great artist, right? And he put out some decent tracks and some nice hits. So coming back now to feel as if you need to do a clash in order to get some hype around the name is exactly what I'm talking about. You don't need that.
So I don't think he wants the hype for the clash. I think it's just some, like, yo, I'm just going to keep drawing Bounty out, yo. Because I think if a real clash comes, I know Subi don't think he can manage Bounty, realistically.
Boy, I know some.
So I don't think he really wants it.
Yeah, you know, some just they're gonna say, yo, look like Oliver takes Subi side, but you're correct me there. You know what I mean?
It's not that I take Subi side. I think sometimes dancehall have a tendency to pick sides and we don't really look at all of the factors. Like an artist like Subi, I try to give artists them credit. I might not agree with everything he does, but if I'm gonna look back at his career, let's be honest, it's not a lot of other people can say they had a career or have a career like him. I
would say he had a successful career.
He can perform for an hour and a half easily.
Right. I think right now though, he's just one of those artists who need to struggling with innovation and need to come up with something.
I think he's trying to be innovative. It's just not working. Because he's doing the Subi talk, he's doing a lot of Spanish records. He's trying.
The people might not just say that him then.
And when all else fails, we resort to the clash.
Which come back to the point.
Why, shit.